Hello, friends. It's your boy Jeff. If there's anybody out there that still watches me, which I would totally understand if there weren't, but making this video, it's my first one in over a year, probably a year and a half. Um, but this is primarily for my Facebook group because I have a feeling this video is going to run a bit long. And um, if anybody else catches this, welcome back. But this is primarily going to be a video about me and my relationship with comics. Just a quick, I know I used to make videos about records. I have a ton of records still that I probably could show, but right now this is about my closing on 50-year reading and collecting of comic books. So first, a little backstory. Back in early 2018, I had kind of come to the end of the road, so I thought, with getting new books for me, every month. I was doing a mail order subscription service through mycomicshop.com, which is an excellent mail order and just a general online comic retailer. And it just was like a confluence of series that I was following got canceled, and it got down to the point where I just didn't seem to have a lot of interest left in what I was reading, with a few exceptions, but that wasn't enough to inspire me to keep going. From probably the first quarter of 2018, which is when I stopped getting shipments, to now, I wasn't really out of comics. I was still reading them. There were a couple of exceptions. I've got like half of a bookshelf full of crime graphic novels by Ed Brubaker, who's one of my all-time favorite comic writers, and Sean Phillips, who's the artist, who's an amazing artist. He wrote many series for Image Comics that were crime related, more or less. And Ed Brubaker had done a very long run on Captain America, a very famous run. He was the one that brought Bucky back and turned him into the Winter Soldier. He also did a long run on Daredevil, which I'll get back to that character in a minute, and among other things. So he's, in comic circles, he's pretty well known. That team had moved to producing, original hardcover graphic novels instead of just monthly floppy series. So I stuck with that. The other exception was Marvel finally started releasing new issues of Miracle Man, which was written by Neil Gaiman. And I had gone through such a long wait and such a hard time getting the original series that I ordered the issues as they came out. I think it ran for maybe 6 or 7 issues. And it was okay. It was kind of a letdown, in my opinion. And then not too long after that, all of the allegations against Neil Gaiman came out, and then kind of left me with a bad taste, because I was a fan. What could I say? But anyway, and there were a few back issue searches that I did, and I actually pulled stuff from my collection that I hadn't read in 30 or 40 years. And so I still had a hand in, roughly, but buying new comics, I just wasn't into. Until earlier this year, and I'll just show this issue of Swamp Thing, which is actually called Swamp Thing 1989, was part of a part of the series that I was actually reading back in 1989, and the what's the word? The drama I would say was over the storyline that DC Comics ended up pulling. And long story short, Swamp Thing was traveling back in time. The reason escapes me right now because I last read it in 1989, and he was interacting with historical DC characters as he went back in time. Well, apparently, um, in this issue, which was scheduled to come out and was completely ready to go, Swamp Thing travels back in time and meets and interacts with Jesus. And DC didn't want to touch any kind of religious thing, any kind of controversy with that. So they ended up pulling the issue. And the creator, Rick Veitch, quit in protest. So then what they did was they brought in another writer who finished the story. Didn't turn out all that great. And this was like one of the great unreleased issues of the era. So online, of course, I heard that they were going to release it and then just end up releasing the rest of the story the way the creator originally intended, which runs for about 5 issues. In fact, I've got the second issue here. And the way DC did it, like I've scanned through these, they're made to look exactly like how DC Comics looked in 1989. So that kind of drew me back, along with I'd gotten the itch to try out new books again. So that being said, I started putting pre-orders in, and those things take a little while to work through because they're 3 months. They work 3 months out before you actually get the books. So just yesterday, I got an enormous shipment of comics, 38 in total. One of them turned out to be a double that I already had, which I didn't know because my memory's bad and with this stuff, or it's getting bad. So I was just going to show the rest of the things I got, starting with the new stuff. Speaking of Daredevil, a new series just started, well, in the last month or two. And I'll show you this. They were released in what they're called blind bags. So there were several different variant covers that you could get with Daredevil #1, and they were all sold in plastic bags that you can't see through, so you don't know what you're getting. So inside was this kind of like a cover sheet, kind of like a little mini folder. And it turns out, I'll show this to you. Instead of just the standard cover, I got a very nice variant cover. This is the Marvel Studios variant cover. It's actually variant 1J, going off of my comic shop's listings, and it's for Daredevil Born Again season 1. This was, if any of you have watched that show, this was the villain from the show. So it was kind of nice. It was a pleasant surprise to get, something a little bit different than just the standard cover. And I've collected Daredevil several times in the past. Besides the Brubaker run, I've got, a bunch of the Frank Miller original issues. Through the years, I've come and gone with Daredevil. So we're gonna pick it up again. It's a new creative team, people I've never heard of. So we're gonna give this another go for a little while and see how things turn out. This was another book. This is a horror comic called Odin. This one I just bought off of the hype that I'd seen surrounding it, and of course I'm always on the lookout for a good comic, and of course, everybody seems to be raving about it, so I'm checking it out. Speaking of universally raved about comic books, this was the hardcover collection that I bought. This is Absolute Batman, and this is the first 6 issues of the series. Again, just like Daredevil, I've collected Batman on and off over the decades, so we're going to pick it up again and give it a shot. The Absolute line of comics used to mean giant, high-end hardcovers of classic DC series, of which I have several. But in this case, the Absolute line is sort of like a reimagining of DC characters, the way that Marvel's Ultimate line was reimagining of their characters. It's kind of like a offshoot universe, I guess you could say. And DC's going in on it, and from what I've heard, this series is really good, so we're going to give it a shot. Absolute Green Arrow was a series that just started, and I wanted to be on the ground floor for one of these Absolute series, so this is another one that everyone seems to be raving about, so I'm going to check that out for myself as well. The other series that drew me back that I discovered was Powers. Powers is a series by Brian Bendis. It started around the year 2000. I've got that first series, most of it, and throughout the decades, because it's over 25 years old now, which is what the series is called, Powers 25, for its 25th anniversary. I came across it in the pre-order listings, so I went back and found and ordered, like, this one here. I've got the first 9 of them. I'll just quickly show you the covers. Here's 2. Here's 3. Powers is a series that mixes the crime, police procedural with superheroes. It was made into a TV series briefly, but I don't think that's around anymore. Here are the different covers. This is number 6. Here's number 7. Number 8. And the current one, number 9. So I'm thrilled to have this back, and this was another one that I'd collected as it came out. So this drew me back as well. Okay. Then Grendel was another series that I'd been collecting since probably the mid-90s, and I came across this is Devil's Crucible Defiance. This is a 4-issue miniseries, which is part of an extended run of different miniseries. This is number 2. This is number 3. I've got 1 and 4, those I were able to find online elsewhere. How can I explain Grendel to you? I don't think I can. But it's been a really long time since I've read it, and I've always enjoyed Grendel, so for that, we're gonna hope for the best. Then, during these last few months that I was entering orders in for new comics, of course, Superman Day happened, and they were giving away free comics. So I just picked some random ones. I have no idea what they are. This is actually Supergirl. It's a Supergirl comic. Probably the Supergirl movie, I think, comes out this month. Got this one here, Woman of Tomorrow, with Crypto, it looks like, there in the cover. And of course, I had to get an actual Superman comic, so they were free. So I just trying them out. And then on Free Comic Book Day, I picked up Lock and Key. This is a series written by Joe Hill, who, as you know, is Stephen King's son, who is also a novelist. I just recently finished his newest book, King Sorrow, which is about this thick. It's a doorstop, but it was really good. And I'd never got into his comic work, so I figured this would be a good place to try it out since it was free. So we got that. Mind Management is also another series that I followed back when I was getting new books, and there's actually a new Mind Management series coming out shortly. So this was a Free Comic Book Day issue on that. Mind Management is, just to give you a quick recap, it's one of those paranoid thrillers. It's one of those government agencies that, it's kind of nefarious. So I'm sorry I'm giving such poor descriptions in these books. But yeah, I was pretty excited to get that one. And then I just picked this one because it was a cool cover. So Spider-Man's always a good read, as is Avengers Armageddon. So these are just fun little things that I'm just going to try out. And again, I just picked them up just because they were free. So that's the new stuff that inspired me to go back into getting new comics. And once I made the decision to pursue this for a while, this may not be forever, I don't know, but for now, I decided to go back and look up series that I was following at the time I stopped comics. And of course, there were a lot of issues released from series that I followed. Lazarus, this was an Image comic. It's written by another one of my favorite comic authors. His name's Greg Rucka. He's also, or was also, a novelist. I don't think he's put out a novel in like 10 years plus. But I was following both his comic and his print work. Lazarus was a series, how do I describe Lazarus? It's kind of like one of those futuristic, semi-depressing series, but just a good science fiction series. But this was actually the last issue of the Lazarus title. And then after that, several miniseries came out kind of in the way that Grendel did. One of them is Lazarus Risen, which honestly I can't tell you what any of these are about because I don't know. I haven't read them yet. But I got the first 2 issues of those. The rest of the series I picked up online. These were the ones that I couldn't find online for a decent price, so I got them through my comic shop. And then this one actually ended, I think, earlier this year or late last year. This is called Lazarus Fallen. This was supposed to be the wind-up of the entire series. And this was issue 2. Here's issue 3. Here's issue 5. Like I said, I can't really say what these are about. I follow creators more probably than I do characters or titles. So I know that if it's written by somebody that I like, that I basically just pick it up and know I'm going to have a good time with it. So, and then he also wrote another series, also by Image Comics, that I was following called The Old Guard. After that first series ended, this series came out. It's called Force Multiplied. The Old Guard is basically a series following a group of immortals. They've lived, probably 1,000 or 2,000 years or longer. And again, it's kind of like a spy, thriller, paranoid, story with, um, I don't want to say spy, but the, the the old guard basically insert themselves into different situations, and things don't always go well. So again, this was me just picking up the series because I like the writer, so I know that whatever these are about, I'm going to enjoy, and I can, if I do follow through with making more videos about comics, I can always tell you in depth more what these are about after I've read them. So there you go. This was the series for that. Force Multiplied, The Old Guard, and last but not least, there was a Jessica Jones series that I was following in 2018, which of course I stopped once I just canceled everything. I picked there were probably 2 or 3 issues of that series, no, or more, that I had to get to finish that off. But before that, there was the original Jessica Jones series, which was called Alias, and that came out in 2003. I can't remember why I stopped reading it at the time, but there were like 5 or 6 issues that I needed to complete the series, a couple of which I found online, but the last 3 I got here, and these are from 2003. And again, if you've heard of the Jessica Jones series that was on Netflix and has moved over to Disney, here's the last one. You kind of know what the story is about. Jessica Jones has powers, and she supports herself by being a detective. I thought the TV show was excellent. I thought Kristen Ritter's portrayal of Jessica Jones is spot on, and I know she appeared in the Daredevil Born Again series, season 2. Don't quote me, but I think she might be getting her own series again, or she's going to be appearing in the future in other Disney Marvel shows. So she's part of that universe again, which is kind of nice. So I just wanted to tie up some loose ends with some of these series. I'm not going to read the entire series from the start. I'm just going to pick up where I left off with these unread issues and finish some things. And there's a couple more going off of my fading memories of this that I need to check up on and check out to see if there's stuff that I missed. If you made it through this entire video, 23 and a half plus minutes of it, thank you. I know I didn't do a great job explaining a lot what these series are, but as I read them, and if I come back to this, then I can tell you more about them in depth, which I'd be happy to do. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I have to say, it felt good to have that thrill of getting the box of comics in the mail like I used to. So, yeah, it's gonna be. I need something to make me feel good. So this is gonna go a ways towards helping that. So, all right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.